All right, continuing our discussion on solving two-step equations. So we are now moving on to our next example. So this time we're going to be using equations as model. So say for example, you're making a bulletin board to advertise community service opportunities in your town. You plan to use half a sheet of construction paper for each ad. You need 5 sheets of construction paper for the title banner. So let's say you have 18 sheets of construction paper. How many ads can you make with these amount of papers? So let's take a look at our problem here, okay? So definitely we are looking at the number of ads, okay? Now, according to this, you are using half a sheet of a construction paper for the ad, okay? So every ad is just half of the paper, okay? For the title banner, you are using how many sheets of paper? 5 sheets of paper. So we can say that our number of construction paper, okay, we can represent that as our variable x. This is the number of construction paper. Construction paper. All right. So according to this, okay, all in all, you have a total of 18 sheets of paper. So 18 is going to be the total in there. And that is going to compose of what? Well, you are going to be using 5 of them for the title banner plus, okay, 1/2 of what? 1/2 of the remaining papers, okay? And we do not know how many that is, so that will now become 1/2 x. So these are your ads, this is your title banner, and this is the total number of papers you have. So how can we find the number of ads that you can make? All right? So if this is our equation, you can see that we can remove our 5 plus because our x variable is attached to the 1/2. So what we can do is start with subtracting our 5. So minus 5, that will become a 0, minus 5. And so right now, our equation will be 18 minus 5, which is 13. And this is going to be equal to 1/2 of the number of construction paper. And if we want to solve for x, then we need to undo the multiplication of 1/2, and that is how can we do that? With the use of multiplying by the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2. And so 1/2 times 2, that's going to be 1, and 13 will also be multiplied by 2. And so as you can see, there will be 26 as the number as the value of our x. And so we can say that there will be 26 ads that can be created, okay? That can be created, okay? So remember, you had a total of 18 pieces of paper. 5 of them got used to the title banner, and so the remaining 13 papers, you divided into 2, so you cut them all into 2, and so that will give us a total of 26 ads, okay? So I know that we have mentioned before, we have already encountered what we call as the deductive reasoning. And so when you are being asked to use deductive reasoning in showing your work for algebraic expressions, what you need to do is to state the steps and the reasons for each step that you are doing. And you can use the reasons, you can use properties, definitions, or rules to justify what you did in the process, okay? So let's have an example here. So what is the solution of negative t plus 8 is equal to 3? So when you are being asked to do a proof like this, okay, or use the deductive reasoning, you always start with what is given, okay? So the given is negative t plus 8 is equal to 3. And what is the reason for that? So the reason for that is it is given, okay? That's the given. So, what is the first thing that you will do to solve for our variable? Well, we know that we need to subtract by 8, okay? So you subtract by 8, and also you will be subtracting by 8 in here. And what is the reason for that? Well, you can subtract on the left side, you also subtracted on the right side. And so what you did is the subtraction property of equality. Okay, if you would remember that from our definition. And so now, what will be our values here? So you will see if you have positive 8 and negative 8, you will now just have negative t. This is equal to 3, positive 3 and negative 8, that will be negative 5. Now, what did you do in that process? Well, first thing, you have your zero property. Sorry, not the zero property. The additive inverse. So you have your additive inverse. And also, on the right side of the equation, you have a positive 3 and a negative 8. You actually combined like terms. Okay? So combine like terms. Sometimes I just use CLT for that, okay? Now, is our variable already isolated? It is not yet. And so, how can we isolate our variable? Well, we have two options here. You can either divide by -1 or multiply by -1. So, we can have, let's say we multiply both sides by -1, okay? So we multiplied by -1, we multiply by -1, and what property is that? Well, remember, we multiplied -1 on the left, we also did that on the right, and so that is the multiplication property of equality. Property of equality, okay? Sorry, it's not a lot of space in there. And so, what now will be our simplified form here now? So this is now going to be -1 times negative t, that's going to be positive t. -5 times -1, that's going to be positive 5. What did you do there? Well, you actually simplified the work. So that is when you simplify. And so t is equal to positive 5. Okay? So let's try, okay? I would like you to try this next example on your own. We have x divided by 3 minus 5 is equal to 4. Go ahead, try it out on your own. So if you have done the work, you should be able to encounter, you should be able to enlist additional property of equality when you add your 5. You simplify, so that's combining like terms. And then you multiply by 3, that's the multiplication property of equality, and then you will eventually get x is equal to 27. That is by the identity property, when you will have 3 divided by 3 equals 1 times x. That's the identity property, and then of course you simplify 9 times 3 to become 27, okay? And so to summarize, when solving two-step equation, it's always allowed to use the properties of equality and inverse operations to form a series of simpler equivalent equations. All right? Thank you. Have a good day.